Welcome back, beautiful soul, to Softening into Momentum. I'm Mickey, and today we discover what happens when the voice that has been your harshest judge transforms into your wisest protector. We've traveled so far together these past weeks. We've learned to see the critic as a frightened protector. We've practiced meeting it at the door with presence instead of panic. We've offered it metta, loving kindness. We've listened beneath the noise to hear the unmet needs crying out for attention. If you missed any of these previous episodes, please feel free to go back and revisit them at any time. And now we ask the question that changes everything. What would protection look like if it were kind? Because here's what I know to be true after years of this work. Your inner critic isn't meant to be your enemy forever. It's meant to evolve, to transform, to become what it was always trying to be. Your inner guardian, your wise protector, your most trusted guide home to yourself. In Buddhism, we speak of Sammā Vāyāma, right effort. This isn't the effort of force or violence. It's not the effort of pushing through or powering over. Right effort is balanced, sustainable, compassionate. It's the effort of a gardener who waters the plants each day not by flooding them, but by offering just what they need to grow. For so long, I thought self-improvement meant being harsh with myself. I thought motivation required self-attack. I thought discipline was about forcing myself to do things I didn't want to do while calling myself names the entire time. But right effort teaches us that true transformation happens when we stop fighting ourselves and start working with ourselves. When we stop trying to force change and start inviting it. When protection can become a partnership. Let me tell you about the day my inner critic became my inner guardian. It was about 16 months into sobriety. I was working and writing on what would become my memoir, sitting in my tiny New Orleans apartment with my cat by my side, trying to write about the hardest parts of my drinking years. And that voice, Lisa, my inner critic, she was going off as usual. You can't write about this. People will think you're pathetic. You're oversharing. You sound like a victim. This is garbage. Delete it all. But something was different this time. Instead of the usual sharp attack, I heard something else underneath. Something that sounded almost worried. Like a friend who was concerned about me getting hurt. So I tried something new. Instead of fighting her or dismissing her, I spoke to her directly, out loud, in my empty apartment. Lisa, I said, I hear that you're scared. What are you trying to protect me from? And for the first time in over 20 years, she answered me without saying something cruel. She said, what if you put your story out there and people judge you? What if they use your pain against you? What if being vulnerable just gives people weapons to hurt you with? Suddenly, I understood. She wasn't trying to stop me from writing to be mean. She was trying to stop me from writing because she was terrified I'd be rejected, judged, hurt. She was trying to keep me safe by keeping me hidden. My inner critic had always been trying to protect me. She just never learned how to do it kindly. So we had a conversation, Lisa and I. I said, I understand you're scared. But what if there was a way to protect me that didn't involve attacking me? What if we could keep me safe while still letting me be seen? And slowly, over weeks and months of these conversations, something beautiful happened. Lisa started to transform. Instead of saying, "Don't write this, you'll sound stupid," she started saying, "Make sure you're writing from a grounded place, not from a wound. Check if you're ready for feedback on this." Instead of, "You look terrible," she began offering, "Let's make sure you're taking care of yourself. Have you been drinking enough water, doing your skincare, getting enough sleep?" Instead of harsh criticism, she became caring. Protective, yes, but protective in a way that supported my growth rather than limiting it. This is what sustainable sobriety looks like, beautiful soul. This is what gentle self-leadership sounds like. Not the white-knuckled willpower of early recovery, but the compassionate guidance of someone who truly has your best interests at heart. Before, when I was struggling with cravings, my inner critic would attack me, saying I'm weak, I'm going to fail, I might as well drink because I'm going to anyway. Now, my inner guardian notices the trigger and responds differently. You're feeling overwhelmed. What do you need right now? Maybe we should call someone, or go for a walk, or put on that playlist that helps you remember why you chose this life. Do you see the difference? Both voices notice the struggle, but one attacks and one supports. One creates more shame, and one offers genuine care. One pushes me toward old patterns, and the other guides me towards my values. This transformation changes everything about how we create, how we show up, how we risk being seen in the world. When your inner voice becomes a guardian instead of a critic, creativity stops being an act of rebellion against yourself and instead becomes an act of collaboration with yourself. I used to write in spite of my inner voice. Now I write with it, in partnership with it. When I sit down to create content for my coaching practice or record these podcast episodes, my inner guardian is right here with me, not attacking, but supporting. Asking questions like, is this true for you? Does this serve the people you're here to help? Are you writing from your scars or your wounds? What do you need to feel safe in order to share this? These aren't critical questions, they're caring questions. Questions that help me create from a place of integrity rather than insecurity, from wholeness rather than from the wound. And now, beautiful soul, we're going to do the work together. We're going to invite your inner critic to transform into your inner guardian. This is deep work, soul work. Take your time and trust the process. So take a moment to find a comfortable position. Close your eyes if that feels safe, or keep them softly focused downward. Place both hands on your heart if that helps you feel grounded. Take 5 deep breaths with me. Let each exhale release any tension, any resistance, any preconceptions about how this should go. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhale gently through the nose and release through the mouth. Inhale and exhale. Inhaling, you are here. Exhaling, there's nowhere to go. One more deeper inhale than before. And release. Now, bring to mind your inner critic. You know this voice. You've been working with it these past few weeks. See if you can visualize it as a being, a presence, a figure that's standing right before you. Look at this critic without judgment. Notice its posture. Just notice. Is it aggressive or defensive? Exhausted? Notice its expression. How it's dressed, how it moves, how it holds itself. Now speak to it directly. You can do this in your mind or whisper out loud. I see you. I understand you've been trying to protect me. I understand you've been working so hard for so long, trying to keep me safe. Notice how the critic responds. Does it soften ever so slightly? Get more defensive? Does it stay the same? Now gently ask, what are you most afraid will happen if you stop being harsh with me? Listen. Really listen. The answer might come in words or in images and feelings. Maybe it's afraid you'll be rejected. Maybe it's terrified you'll make mistakes. Maybe it's scared you'll be hurt, abandoned, seen as weak. Now, From your wisest, most compassionate self, respond to this fear. You might say something like, "I understand your fear. Thank you for trying to protect me from that. But I want you to know we're strong enough now to handle these difficulties without attacking ourselves." We can be careful without being cruel. See if you can imagine offering the critic a new role. Instead of being your attacker, what if it became your advisor? Instead of your judge, what if it became your guard? Instead of your enemy, what if it became your most trusted guide? You might say, "I have a new job for you. Instead of criticizing me to keep me safe, I want you to support me to keep me safe. Instead of attacking me when you're worried, I want you to simply tell me what you're worried about. Instead of being my critic, I want you to be my guardian. Now, imagine the critic beginning to transform. Maybe it's subtle, a slight softening of expression, a change of posture. Maybe it's dramatic, the whole figure shifting into something warmer, kinder, more protective. See your inner guardian now. How does it look? How does it stand? How does it feel to be in its presence? This is the voice that will guide you with wisdom instead of wounding you with criticism. This is the protector that knows the difference between keeping you safe and keeping you small. Ask your inner guardian, what do you want me to know? What wisdom do you have for me? How will you help me moving forward? Now, imagine yourself and your inner guardian walking forward together. Not you dragging it reluctantly or pushing it, but walking side by side as partners, as allies, as the team you were always meant to be. See yourself facing challenges with this guardian beside you. See it offering wise counsel instead of harsh judgment. See it protecting you. Before we close this practice, make an agreement with your guardian. How will you know it's speaking instead of the old critic? Maybe it speaks more gently. Maybe it asks questions instead of making demands. Maybe it offers opinions instead of ultimatums. Tell your guardian how you want to work together. Maybe you'll check in before making big decisions. Maybe you'll listen for wisdom when you're feeling lost. Maybe you'll simply remember that it's there, that you're not alone, that you have this wise protector within you, always. Take a moment to feel the presence of your inner guardian. Feel how different it is from the old critic. Feel the safety, trust, the partnership. Now imagine both of you surrounded by that golden light of loving kindness. This is your new agreement, your new way of being together. Take one more deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes, becoming aware of the space around you. How was that, beautiful soul? However it was is perfect. Some people feel an immediate shift. Others feel subtle changes that unfold over time. Some feel resistance, the old patterns fighting to stay in the same place. All of that is normal. It's all part of the process. This is the work, dear one. This is how we heal, not by silencing parts of ourselves, but by helping them evolve into their highest expression. When your inner critic transforms into your inner guardian, everything changes. The voice you use to talk to yourself becomes gentler, which means the voice you use to talk to others becomes gentler too. The way you handle mistakes shifts from self-attack to self-correction. The way you approach challenges moves from fear-based to trust-based. In my sobriety, this has been everything. My guardian helps me notice when I'm getting too hungry, too angry, too lonely, too tired. Classic halt, warning signs. But it does so with care, not criticism. Instead of you're being weak, it says you're human and you need support. What would help right now? Spoiler, it's usually that I'm hungry. In my creative work, my guardian helps me discern between sharing from my scars versus my wounds. It asks, are you creating this because you have something valuable to offer, or because you're still trying to heal something? Both are valid, but the motivation changes the energy of what I create. In my relationships, my guardian helps me maintain boundaries not from a place of defensive protection, but from a place of self-respect. It says, this doesn't feel aligned with your values, instead of, you're being a doormat again. Every person's inner critic speaks a slightly different language. Every guardian needs to be born in a slightly different way. Some people's critics are perfectionists who need to learn about good enough. Some are controllers who need to learn about trust. Some are people pleasers who need to learn about boundaries. In my Rewriting the Inner Voice coaching work, we spend months together doing this kind of deep, gentle transformation. We identify your specific critic patterns, understand their origin stories, offer them metta, decode their messages, and slowly, patiently help them evolve into the guardians they were always meant to be. Your harsh inner voice doesn't have to rule your life forever. It can evolve. It can transform. It can become your greatest ally instead of your coolest enemy. What would protection look like if it were kind? It would look like a voice that warns you of real dangers without creating imaginary ones. It would sound like a friend who cares about your well-being without attacking your worth. It would feel like having a wise advisor who wants to see you thrive, not just survive. It would look like the relationship you've begun building today. Next week, in our final episode together, we'll explore how to live with this transformed voice. How to carry your inner guardian into your daily life, your relationships, your work, your creative expression. But for now, rest in what you've accomplished today. You've done sacred work, soul work, the kind of inner alchemy that changes everything from the inside out. And that's everything. The Softening into Momentum podcast is lovingly curated, created, written, edited, and produced by me, Mickey Byrne, with accompanying sound bath frequencies by my good friend, Static. If you would like to dive further into his incredible musical work, please go to YouTube at Static is Noise. My new book, Permission to Be, a memoir about sobriety, self-trust, and learning to come home to yourself, is out now in print and ebook format. Link in the show notes. Thank you for transforming with me today, beautiful soul. Until we meet again, namaste.